Hey everyone, welcome to Turkish series stars. Settle in, because all the juicy details are coming up, and you won't want to miss a second. Make sure you're subscribed and share this video before we dive in. Thank you for being here. As the new year rolled in, the entertainment world was jostled by a ripple of whispers that quickly grew into a tidal wave. The talk? A surprise New Year's escape that has pulled Akın and Ebru back into the same frame, with a twist that no one saw coming. According to what's being murmured behind closed doors, Akın ended a years-long relationship just before taking off, and, almost without pause, boarded a flight to celebrate abroad where Ebru also happened to be welcoming the year. Did they plan it? Was it a coincidence? That's the question setting social media on fire. The story begins in one of Europe's most beloved cities, the kind that shimmers with lights and music at midnight. Fans noticed something odd, a steady stream of photos on their feeds, posted within minutes of each other, with backgrounds that looked strangely alike. Ebru shared a glowing snapshot beneath garlands of gold, while Akın posted a quiet cityscape bathed in winter light. No tags, no mentions, nothing overt, yet the timing was impossible to ignore. Sleuths matched the cobblestones, the balcony rails, even the angle of the street lamps. Mutual friends sprinkled comments that felt like clues rather than casual banter, and the question kept repeating, could two people celebrate in the same place, at the same moment, without sharing a plan? Then came the detail that turned gossip into a headline. Words slipped out from people said to be close to Akın that the separation from his fiancée wasn't a sudden blow-up, but a slow unraveling. The kind that begins quietly and ends all at once. They'd been at odds for a while, the kind of differences that stack up until even ordinary days feel heavy. Yet the timing, aligned with the New Year city where Ebru was also spotted, only stirred the confusion. In the echo of the countdown, one question took over the fan pages and gossip corners alike: was this goodbye to the past the very beginning of something new? Ebru has chosen silence, but not the kind that looks wounded. Her posts were bright with winter skies and the kind of carefree smiles that say she's breathing easier. No captions revealing anything, just moments of light. She seemed at peace, energized, a woman who knows the power of stillness when the world is loud. Akın's feed took on the same understated tone, a few thoughtful frames, a muted palette, a calmness that didn't deny the rumors, but didn't confirm them either. They didn't need to say much, the silence did the talking. And the thing that made it all the more remarkable? Though their names have been intertwined in the public imagination for years, they haven't shared a set in a long time, and their personal circles have diverged sharply. That distance is exactly why this possible reconnection feels like a thunderclap. By the time the fireworks faded and the holiday haze began to lift, the whispers had settled into a steady drumbeat. Observers claimed that New Year's Eve for Akın and Ebru wasn't spent in a crowded square or a flashy rooftop, but quietly, tucked away from the center of the city, where the music was soft and the lights were low. A deliberate choice, people said, not to hide, but to protect the tenderness of a moment before the world could bruise it. The rumor was that they wanted to keep whatever this was, reconciliation, rekindling, or simply grace in each other's company. Away from prying eyes until they knew what it truly meant. Those who see Akın regularly told a story of a man who had pulled back after the breakup, a bit more reserved, more careful about who he let near. But away from home, out in that winter-lit city, it was like a veil lifted. He smiled wider, walked lighter. He was said to be talking about a new chapter, not in a flashy way, but with the quiet determination of someone who has taken measure of himself and is ready to step forward. From the outside, this trip looked less like an escape and more like a gentle reset, a way to breathe without the noise of what had just ended. As for Ebru, the timing felt intentional. She'd been working hard, pushing through a dense season, and whispers suggest she wanted this break to be a kind of reset for her spirit. A chance to get still before plunging back into the demands of the screen. But when fans clocked that she and Akın were following similar paths, restaurants that glowed like amber, vantage points over rooftops that aligned a little too neatly, the conversation shifted. It wasn't just that they could have crossed paths. It felt, to those looking closely, like they'd charted similar constellations on purpose. Mutual friends only added fuel. A few hearts, a stray star or two left in comments beneath their New Year's posts didn't scream confirmation, but they didn't whisper denial either. Nobody rushed to delete the emojis. Nobody tamped down the speculation. The restraint was its own message, one that hinted at an official statement waiting in the wings. And as the holidays wound down, the city they were in saw fewer tourists in thick scarves and more locals on their way to work. People's attention turned toward one question: when they touched down in Istanbul, would they walk past the cameras without a glance, or would a moment at the arrivals hall shift everything we think we know? What made the rumor stronger was the pattern that emerged as the days ticked by. It wasn't just about midnight. The story stretched on. They were said to have extended the trip, to taste the city more fully. Daytime hours exploring corners that don't make postcards. Evenings spent tucked in restaurants where privacy means more than menu choices. They slipped from taxis to doorways with the practiced discretion of people who have been famous long enough to know how to be invisible when they want to be. They weren't careless, not once. And that, perhaps more than anything, is what convinced many that whatever sparked between them deserved that care. Back home, the narrative forming around Akın was that he'd made firm choices. That he'd closed the door on old chapters with a kind of finality that feels both sad and necessary. You could see it in the quiet of his posts, the measured steps into the new year without grand declarations. People who know him described a man who'd decided not to linger in the in-between. A decision like that, followed by a trip that intersected so closely with Ebru's, felt like a pattern, not a coincidence. Meanwhile, Ebru gave off an air of grounded confidence, the kind that comes from knowing exactly where your feet are. She wasn't rushing, wasn't performing. She seemed open to the unknown, willing to let life unfold, and fans saw in her photos a woman content in her own skin and in the company she keeps. The micro-details obsessed the most devoted followers. A table setting that matched strikingly in two separate posts. The warm tint of a lamp shade that appeared in a reflection on one account, and in full view on the other. The lattice of a balcony that, once you looked, you couldn't unsee. People stitched together timelines and carefully circled background details. Perhaps, they said, this wasn't just hidden. Perhaps it was a soft reveal, a way of letting those who wanted to know find breadcrumbs while avoiding a spectacle. And now, with the holidays officially over, the countdown begins again, this time to their return. The airport has always been the stage where private stories spill into public view, even for a second. Maybe they won't arrive together at all. Maybe they'll walk out of a glass door minutes apart, faces forward, plans tucked safely out of reach. Or maybe, just maybe, a brief shared glance will rewrite the conversation. Either way, industry chatter says we're just days away from the next turn in this story. Sources insist this hasn't been a whirlwind fling stretched over one flashy night. The trip, by all accounts, continued for several days, a quiet rhythm of mornings and nights, of city streets and hushed conversations. They took care not to intersect with clusters of Turkish tourists, not out of fear, but out of a desire to own the pace of the story. When and if their truth becomes official, it seems they want it to happen on their terms. Meanwhile, predictions multiply. Some say Akın is already looking ahead, aligning projects and personal milestones, ready to keep his private life private even if it peeks into the public view. Others believe Ebru has decided to walk into the year with compassion for the past and curiosity for what's next. There's a sense of reset around both of them, a deep breath that comes after months of holding steady. Back on fan pages, a new thread has taken hold, the idea that what began long ago, on sets, in stories, in the glare of fame, might be circling back in a calmer, wiser way. Not an explosion, but a return. Not a confession, but a recognition. And that's why the phrase keeps popping up everywhere. Is 2025 their new beginning? It's a dramatic line, sure, but it sticks because it feels possible. No one close to them will confirm anything. No one denies it either. What we do know is that the same city lights reflected in two pairs of eyes, and the same night air carried two people into a new year with untold conversations between them. Whether those conversations lead to a private understanding or a public chapter is the piece everyone is waiting to see. There's a buzz that, once they touch down in Istanbul, they'll return to work as if nothing ever happened, moving into script readings, meetings, and the clocks of production. But the questions won't stop at the studio door. A single photo, a shared car, even two coffee cups left side by side on a makeup table could send speculation into overdrive again. The first week of the year is already alive with rumors that the next development will land soon, perhaps in the form of a short note or a careful response to a reporter's question. For now, the story lives in the overlaps. The matching city views. The timing of the uploads. The soft smiles and unhurried captions. The friendly emojis that went unedited. The parallels in their routes through a city that has hosted 1,000 love stories and keeps 1,000 more secrets. It's a narrative written in the white space between posts, in the moments they chose not to share. The earth doesn't shake when two people quietly realign. But you can feel the air shift. So we wait, watching the doorways and the timelines, listening for the signal that turns rumor into reality. Maybe it will be a photograph, maybe a brief statement, or maybe just the kind of look that says everything without words. Until then, this is the season of almosts and maybes, and somehow that's exactly what makes it compelling. You've been watching Turkish series stars. If you enjoyed the story and want more, remember to subscribe and share. We'll be here the moment the next chapter breaks.